1% rule explained. What in the world is the 1% rule? So when I buy a property, it got to be 1% of the ARP. We got to be 1% of the purchase price. Explain that. I don't know exactly. Hey, so welcome into the channel. My name is Jordan. If you haven't been here before, this is a real estate investing done right channel where we talk about all things real estate investing, market analysis, anything that got to do with finances that can help you benefit from growing your real estate investing business. That's what we talk about, and obviously all things entrepreneurship. If that's going to be something you're going to be interested in, make sure you go ahead and hit the subscribe button and make sure you like the video as well. Let's jump right into it. So obviously on my part, I wrote some things to make sure you guys can kind of get a better feel for exactly what we're talking about and going over it. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So we talk about this. One of the first things I want to talk about when it comes to the 1% rule is actually location. Location. I know a lot of people don't think about this, but the 1% rule isn't something you want to look at when we're talking about going to Cleveland, Ohio and investing, right? We're talking about going to very, very inexpensive markets. That's not the 1% rule. We don't want to use that when we're out in the subprime markets. We want to use the 1% rule when we're in the primary markets. I'm talking about places like Austin, Texas. It's very hard to find any in California, but essentially you want to find it around the $250,000 price range, right? Typically when you can find the 1% rules in that one, is going to be pretty sweet because you're going to capture some equity when you do so. So I'm not saying go out there and buy a $250,000 house to do it in, but I'm saying that type of market is your market that you want to be in. So here in DFW, it's a perfect market for the 1% rental rule. And the reason why is because here in other primary markets where the house is a little bit more expensive, I'm not going to say it's not California expensive, but it is more expensive than the cash flow areas. We look at appreciation, right? Appreciation. All that means is properties that's going up in value, right? We want to capture some of that equity when we get value for the property. So essentially buying in a nice neighborhood, a good 322, a desirable neighborhood with great schools, that property is always going to be worth more, especially to the home buyer. They want to be in that particular area. So that's what you want to look for as a potential landlord, because you know in 3, 4, 5 years that property is going to go up in value, right? Same thing, the same market is like Atlanta, Georgia, Austin, Texas, Houston, Texas. San Antonio is the exact same way, Kansas City, St. Louis, Missouri, right? These are great places for you to be in that's actually going to bring some appreciation. And as long as you're in great school districts, nice, desirable areas, people are going to always want to pay for those particular properties, which essentially you buy it at this point, you hold it for 5 years. And typically in 5 years, it's worth more. So as an investor, you're talking about capturing $100K in equity just because the place you bought it at. So that's why it makes sense to buy for the 1% rule. If you're ever going to apply the 1% rule, please make sure you're in a desirable area, because this right here is the #1 determining factor for the 1% rule. Now you can buy 1% rule all over the place, but if you're going to go through the headache of being a landlord, it's not always peaches and cream, right? And I'm just being honest with you guys. If you're gonna go through the headache of being a landlord, at least capture some of that appreciation. Because even on some of these years, right, you may break even this year, you may break even that year, but who cares? You gain $40,000, $50,000 on your rental property. So that's one of the biggest things that you want to look at as far as rental property appreciation and buying in the 1% rule. Now, last but not least, how to calculate the 1% rule. The 1% rule is simply this: 1% equals rent. So the rent has to be 1% of purchase price and rehab, right? So I got 1% equals purchase price plus rehab equals rent. Let me do that again. So perfect example. We find rent in one area is I think I'm doing one right now. Rent is $160,000. Rent is $1,600, right? So I'm in a 1% rule. I'm in a desirable neighborhood. It's not a 322, it's a 222. But I'm in a desirable neighborhood right now. And I know essentially the property is worth 190K. That's the ARV. And typically 70% of that I'll be at 133 minus repairs. I'll be at around 120 on that particular property, right? That's how much it needed work. That's how much, that's 70%. And now this is minus repairs, right? Well, in the Dallas market, it's gonna be very hard to compete at 120, 70% minus repairs. It's gonna be very hard. We're gonna have to do a lot of marketing. We're gonna have to pass up on this deal. But knowing what I know about the renters and landlords here, what they want to see in there as far as their property, that might be something desirable, and we can be able to pay a little bit more. So right now we're locking it up for 140. That's our purchase price plus our rehab, 15K. So 140 plus 15. It's gonna leave me all in at 155. Not a great deal, but fish and bread keep the poor man fed, right? So with that being said, 155, 16 is one. All I gotta be in it is 160K. And that's equal my 1% rule. So right here, I have a wholesale agreement of 5K, right? We still make money on the deal. Not a very good deal, not the best deal, but at least we make 5K, keep moving on to the next one, right? So that's why it's so important to understand the 1% rule, because literally there are buyers out here all day long that's buying at this 1% rule, and it could legitimately change your business. It could legitimately change your business. So whenever you're going into some of these primary markets, these are the markets that you're looking for that's gonna have the landlords there that's buying at the 1% rule, because if they're not, you're in trouble, right? You're in trouble. It is what it is. But if you can find some of these 1% rules, I promise you're gonna make a lot of money doing it. So with that being said, you guys always know, hey, keep winning. If you'd have any questions about this, make sure you drop a comment below, and I hope this helps you buy your next investment. Keep winning.